I'm the Count, also known as Spencer Christian, coming up on The Boo from the Bay, a hauntingly good show today, devoted entirely to Halloween. We're going to hunt ghosts with real ghost hunters aboard the USS Hornet. Stay tuned.
Right now on The View from the Bay, feel a cold chill crawling up your spine? You must be on the USS Hornet.
You'll often notice things out of the corner of your eye, and you'll sort of do a double take like, whoa, did I see that?
Go on a haunted Halloween tour. The View from the Bay starts now.
Welcome to The View from the Bay. I'm Spencer Christian, also known as Count Blackula. This is Tuesday, October 31st. It is Halloween. Welcome to the most haunting show in town. My buddy Janelle Wang cannot be here today. Janelle is sick. Can you believe that? She's missing out on the most fun-filled day of the whole year for our program. Janelle, get well soon. But at least there's no one here to pick on me today, so I can be my old ghostly self. We have so many hauntingly delicious things coming up on today's show. We're going to take you aboard the haunted USS Hornet. This is a seagoing vessel that actually has ghosts. We're going aboard the vessel with two ghost hunters who will, well, we'll show you what they found a little bit later. Is the USS Hornet really inhabited by ghosts? We'll find out when some experienced parapsychologists take us deep inside the ship. Coming. Okay, if you're looking for spirits, one place that's famous for having lots of them is the USS Hornet Museum, located in Alameda. We followed two parapsychologists onto the ship to hunt for ghosts. That's exactly what we found. Check it out.
Parapsychology studies psychic phenomena. We deal with the idea that the mind connects with other people, with the world around us, and perhaps survives after death. So we're dealing with ESP, mind over matter, and survival, life after death. Ghosts.
I have been coming to the ship as a parapsychologist since 1998, along with Loyd Auerbach. But I also, for the last 2 years, have worked as a ship's volunteer in the painting and restoration department.
Well, the idea of determining if a place is haunted, if there's a presence there, is really based on human experience. I mean, the history and the definition of ghosts relies on a human being having the experience of sensing a presence, seeing a person who has come and gone, who has smelled cologne, heard their voice. So it's really about human beings being the best detectors. The Hornet was decommissioned in the early 70s. We can't find, other than one possible experience in the 50s, no real experience of ghosts on that ship beforehand. And the Navy's doesn't keep a lid on these kinds of things. So in '95, when they brought the ship down, apparently that's when the volunteers, as they were scraping and painting and cleaning the ship up, that's when things started happening. So we think that these guys were attracted by the fact that the ship was going to be opened as a museum. As far as how many there are, based on descriptions, we guess that there are probably somewhere above 50.
There are certain times of day when people tend to be more psychic and more apt to see things. They will see them when they're tired, because it's a slightly altered state of consciousness. So it's very common for people who are on the liveaboard program late at night or early in the morning to have experiences. Also, you'll often notice things out of the corner of your eye if you're moving quickly, and you'll sort of do a double take like, whoa, did I see that? And then when you actually look with your eyes, you'll realize, no, there's nothing there. It's just a spirit.
I've been here for 11 years, so I've seen a few things. I've heard some things, and I felt some strange things. And it doesn't always happen. Sometimes things don't happen for 8 months to a year. But when they do happen, they happen in waves.
I've actually had experiences on the Hornet. I've had a couple of them. In one instance, we were here shooting with a TV show involving some kids, and I was talking to the former receptionist who had had some experiences here, and she said, oh, I think somebody's around. She actually felt something, and at that moment, I felt like a pat on my back.
When we were restoring the forward part of the ship up in the forecastle, I was painting, and a couple of times I saw people as solid as you as me in uniforms walking on the catwalks and then vanishing in thin air. Couldn't explain it.
We use technology these days, and have been for many, many years, to determine if there are any disturbances or changes in the environment when people are having these experiences, or generally in haunted places. Well, this OR is one place that I know has had some activity over the years. We were here a while back. It's one area that I actually had an experience. I don't know if we're picking up much of anything right now.
What I have in my hand is an infrared thermometer that lets me watch for temperature differences. And you can push the button and it will actually give you a readout of the temperature. So what I'm looking for is cold spots where there might be perhaps a normal reason, but I'm hoping perhaps a paranormal reason.
Well, there are a variety of environmental tools that we use in investigations. I mean, basically, we do things that just take basic measurements of rooms. We use sound detectors from time to time if we think there might be some low-frequency sound or other disturbances. We use magnetic field detectors, what are called EMF detectors, mainly in the magnetic range, looking for high magnetic fields because those have been connected to people's experiences of hauntings and ghosts. In general, what people have experienced is a couple of different things. Generally, people will see a figure, often 3D, solid-looking, sailors and officers, typically of the right age and the right uniform of World War II era at that point in time. So they see those folks. They don't hear anything. That's the unusual thing, is that they're seeing them but not hearing footsteps. And here on the Hornet, to walk around and not hear footsteps, it's crazy. You just can't do that. It's likely these are people who did not die on the ship because it had a very low death rate. They died in civilian life or well after the ship was out of commission. And they're just kind of coming back to protect the ship, to protect the legacy of the ship. I'm getting some great readings.
Are you?
Yeah.
Great.
There's a lot of activity right now.
Yeah, you can always count on the medical bay. Oh, we just had a spike.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that.
Somebody's coming through.
Yeah, it's this office. I mean, this office is usually pretty active for us.
Yeah, there's somebody here today.
Yeah.
I'm getting some.
Bernie, Bernie's the guy who has been around
Movement
here.
of my needle here.
Bernie apparently hangs out in the medical bay. He was a CMO at some point within the ship, and he's been very helpful actually manipulating, when he's around, manipulating our equipment. He actually makes things move.
Excellent.
Cool. Do it again, Bernie. Really appreciate this. Thank you, Bernie. The whole concept of ghosts interacting with us is based on a couple things. Number one, they are mind, they're consciousness. And the only way they can communicate, the only way they can see the world, more or less, is through what we would call ESP. They don't have any normal senses. So when they communicate with us, in any way, shape, or form, whether it's visually, auditorily, in any way, they're putting an idea into our head. They're feeding us information. They're broadcasting, and we're picking it up. And so we process that as a visual signal or an auditory signal or a combination of those things.
The spirits have returned to the ship for the same reason that the volunteers have come back to the ship. They remember this as a happy place and a happy time in their life when they were young and healthy and in many ways kind of carefree. And they have good memories of being here.
The interesting thing about the Hornet, I think, as a number of other haunted places, is that the Hornet folks don't want to get rid of these ghosts. So we're not in any hurry to get rid of the ghosts of the Hornet. In fact, we're inviting any naval ghosts who are, hanging around. This is a good place to be.
Now, we're going to take a serious approach and find out more about these ghostly sightings, because when we come back, we'll meet the actual ghost hunters from the USS Hornet. Coming up. Well, if you have a ghost problem, and who doesn't these days, who are you going to call? How about the ghost hunters? Joining us today to talk more about their research on the USS Hornet are parapsychologists Loyd Auerbach and Pamela Heath, who were just in the video there showing you their ghost explorations. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you.
And we've been having fun with the topic today of things paranormal. But you take this very seriously. You seriously are hunting for ghosts, right?
We're not really hunting for ghosts, we're looking for situations in which people have experiences, so we can take a look and try to figure out what's really going on in those experiences.
And just what are you looking for? I mean, and how do you find evidence that there have been these spiritual visits?
Well, most of the time it is based on witness testimony, and we're trying to get corroboration. For example, on the Hornet we have multiple witness sightings of multiple ghosts, which is a very unusual thing. We've had a situation with Keith Ledoux, who was seen in that piece, of 7 other people who were with him at one point, apparently seeing the same thing that he did. And that's unusual.
So I take it this means that you believe that these ghosts, spirits, whatever we call them, are real. They're really around us.
Yeah, I believe they exist.
And why is it that they are in certain places and not everywhere? I mean, why are some places called haunted and some others seemingly are free of these spiritual visitors?
Well, spirits seem to go where they were happy when they were alive. Just as if we had a choice, we tend to hang out in places that we enjoy, too.
Or with people that we like.
Yeah.
Have you had spiritual encounters yourself, or spirit encounters?
Yes, I have. I've had a number of them, and I've worked with Loyd since 1996 with the Office of Paranormal Investigations, and we've run into quite a few ghosts during that time, too.
Huh. So now, what are these tools of the trade that you use to detect evidence of these spirits?
Well, these are environmental sensors, and of course that's a camera and an audio recorder. This is a geomagnetometer, and this measures the Earth's magnetic field, which is somewhat useless at the USS Hornet because of the steel that's there. Kind of shields a bit. This is a trifield meter, which among other things measures in the magnetic range. We look for certain types of changes in the environment. We're really trying to figure out how they connect to people's experiences.
You mentioned that spirits will visit places where they had happy experiences when they were in the physical body. So what's so happy about the USS Hornet?
Well, you know,
so many of them go there.
When people ask that question, if we're on the ship, I like to send them over to talk to the docents, because we have elderly guys who served aboard that ship or other ships during World War II who consider that one of the best times of their life. So it's very fond memories. Why are they volunteering to take people on tours of this warship? Well, it's because it was a very fond time for them to remember.
Now, are there evil spirits and good spirits? Are there spirits around that would actually do harm to people?
Well, they're the same as people are. They don't change just because they're dead. So there's nice people and there's nasty people. And then when they cross over, if they don't finish their transitions and go all the way to the light and do their life review and self-judgment and hopefully learn a bit, then they're going to be the same personality that they would have had when they were alive.
No, explain some of this to me now. You talk about the transition and not having gone all the way
to the light. And that's from a very psychic perspective from Pam's dealing. From Pam's actually dealing with the spirits and getting this kind of feeling for that.
Now, okay, so the spirits will hang around here for a while, hang on to this world and not make a complete...
Some spirits do. You'll run into different kinds of spirits. Some spirits will go all the way to the light and then just come back to visit from time to time, especially like grandparents like to come check on the grandkids and see how they're doing. But there are other spirits that get stuck for different reasons and don't want to leave life, or they don't understand that they're dead, and they remain at a given location with the same personality they had when they were alive.
And you can expect the personality to be consistent with the one displayed by the person when they were here. Now, how do you know this? I mean, you know, for the skeptics out there, what evidence have you compiled that convinces you that what you're telling us is sound? Well,
this is coming from psychics, but it's also coming from the witnesses. So, for example, there are people, average people, who have communication with ghosts, and they get this kind of information as well. But more importantly, they also get information about who these people were that they couldn't have known otherwise. So we have verifiable information coming as well.
Now, can any of us have an encounter with a spirit? Can any of us be visited by a spirit? And if so, what powers do we need to develop, or what sensitivity do we need to develop so that we can feel it, sense it, know it?
Any of us can have these experiences. Most often they occur in dreams or on the cusp of sleep. When you're waking up or falling off to sleep, it's not at all uncommon that you'll see spirits that want to talk to you.
Actually, a research psychic years ago I worked with back at a research organization in New York gave me some great advice. He said, just first notice that you're already psychic. And we just let so much slip by us that as you try to become more psychic in general, you're becoming more intuitive and more open. Your senses actually develop even better that way, just by noticing what's going on.
Have you ever had bad encounters with a spirit? I mean, scary?
Only with living people.
Oh, well, I think we've all had those.
I mean, ghosts don't carry guns and knives. We don't have to worry about really ghosts doing anything more than possibly psychologically hurting people in many respects.
I had one recently threatened to throw me down the stairs.
Why? What did you do to tick him off?
I went up in his space, and he didn't like me there. And so I could tell he was thinking about giving me a good push, and they were pretty steep stairs. And I told him he'd be in deep trouble if he did it. And he believed me, so he backed off fast.
It's about puffing yourself up, because they're no more powerful than we are.
So you can actually communicate with the spirits?
Yeah, they're actually aware of what we say and what we think. You don't even have to say it out loud a lot of times.
They don't manifest themselves in a physical way, so I mean, is there a language?
We're actually dealing with consciousness. A spirit is consciousness. It's their mind after death, and they're communicating with us by telepathy, mind to mind.
Well, Loyd and Pamela, this is fascinating stuff. Thank you for dropping by.
Thank you.
Parapsychologist, and thank you for having been with us on this special